Some lessons don't come from books. They come from bruises. They come from life.
There is no substitute for experience, period.
Some of the biggest successes were a byproduct of failure.
If you want to learn, build, and grow,
Why not learn from somebody who's already paid the price for success?
the wisdom is in the gray.
This is The Graybeard Show.
Learn,
Build.
grow.
And welcome to the show. You're listening to The Graybeard Show. My name happens to be Graybeard, otherwise known as Shawn Davis. This is a place where you can learn, build, grow. I'm a mentor. I'm a coach. Suffice it to say, I'm a guy that's made a lot of mistakes in my life as I've had lots and lots of business experience. 3 different businesses I've grown and scaled and learned a lot of lessons. That's where all the wisdom comes from in the gray. And today's show is all about the second act, writing the best chapter of your life when many of you may feel like life has started to pass you by. And so today's episode is going to be a humdinger, as I like to say. We're going to jump right into it. So this is where we get real about the stuff that too many men and too many women wrestle with in silence. Today we're talking about something that hits home for a lot of you out there in radio land, especially if you're in your 60s and beyond. I call it the second act, writing that best chapter of your life. Now, let me ask you, how many of you are a little nervous about what's to come? I mean, you've worked, you've had a great career, you've raised kids, you've built a nice little nest egg for yourself, and right up looming out in the horizon, what am I going to do if I retire? What am I going to do with my time? Where is the world going to pass me by? What if I stagnate? What if the quiet fear? What if the best years of my life are behind me? I wrestle with that myself. I've had those thoughts myself. See, as we age, as we get older, as we tackle life, and as we lament some of the challenges that we've had throughout our life and then relish in some of the successes, there's this creeping little thought that, is my life closing in? Am I losing the ability to be impactful? Is the world really going to pass me by? And so I've had those thoughts myself. You know, have you ever wondered, so as you age, I'm 54, and as you age, you start to realize there's some things that you're never going to do again, ever in your life. Let me give you a perfect example. Okay, I didn't expect this one. As many of you age, I've kept my eyesight, I've kept my hearing. I don't have any challenges with my eyesight or my hearing, but I will tell you this: I am a speed junkie. I love going fast in anything, and I love adrenaline, and I love a good adventure. And so for me, I had always, never did it, but always wanted to take a ride in like an F-16, like ride in a jet, you know, one of those fighter pilot type experiences, you know, roll through the air and just have some grand adventure. And the closest thing that I could ever come to doing that was riding roller coasters and such, maybe at Disneyland, maybe at California Adventure, maybe at Universal Studios. And so now I come to tell you, as a 54-year-old male, if I do 2 spins, you know, standing up and just spin myself twice, I'm probably wrecked for the rest of the day, right? My equilibrium's off. It's just not something I can deal with. I can't do the spinny rides. I can't do the twists and turns. I can't close my eyes and twist. And so here I thought, gosh, man, that's just one more thing on the list of things that I'll never do again. And so sometimes it's fearful. Sometimes there's this concern, like I'm running out of life experiences, because you're not adding to those life experiences as much as it feels like some of them are taking away, especially as you age. And little questions like, what do I have left to contribute? Will anyone need me anymore? It's like finishing a marathon, crossing the line. Instead of a medal, you're handed a blank piece of paper and told, now what? You know, the thought can be terrifying because for decades you knew your role. You worked, you raised kids, you built things, you carried responsibilities. And then one day, the scoreboard, it changes. The jobs wind down. The kids don't need you in the same way. The world feels like it's moving faster than ever before. And that's never, ever been more, in my opinion, appropriate or germane than the AI world we're living in now. It seems like things are just going so dang fast. And it's hard to keep up. But let me tell you, you're not alone in those thoughts. I hear it all the time. Okay? And you're not done. In fact, you may be just standing at the doorway of the greatest chapter of your life if you so choose to frame it that way. A lot of the experience or the fear or the anxiety that comes with aging comes from the perspective of you're imagining worst case scenarios. You're imagining your life winding down. But what if you could imagine it, reframe it a bit differently? What if this next chapter is the greatest culmination of your life's work? I mean, let's take it for example. Let's break it apart. So as you age, as you get closer and closer to retirement, maybe you're in retirement. The idea is you don't have the work constraints that took so much of your time. So now you've got the freedom of time. And guess what? At that particular age, you've lived a lot of life. You've had a lot of work experiences. You've had a lot of life experiences. Now you have the wisdom to show for a life well lived. So you've got the hours, you've got the time, you've got the wisdom. Now you just need to take it and apply it, because some of the biggest, best businesses, some of the greatest opportunities in life, some of the biggest transformations that people have made, some of the greatest amount of impact that our fellow humans have made on this planet came in the late stages of their lives. And that can happen for you as well. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, reframing the second act, writing the best chapter of your life. Wouldn't that be a great way to sail off into your latter years? Now, if this is having any impact for you, let me just say this. I'm a mentor. I'm a coach. I have a very, very significant positive mindset. I tend to be an optimist. I'm a problem solver. You cannot be in business for 35 years without being a problem solver. And I might be able to shed some perspective on what you could do, brainstorm some ideas with you on how you can make impact, because you've got the time, you've got the wisdom, and you've got the heart to want to apply that. If that speaks to you, maybe you would benefit from mentoring or coaching with me. We won't know unless you're proactive. If you take out your phone right now, this is a call to action. If you'd like to talk about how you could live the best chapter of your life, your second act, writing that best chapter, all you got to do is text mentor, 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 to 84503. When you text mentor to 84503, my team is going to be in touch. You'll have a chance to have a spark call with me, 30 minutes on me, a chance for us to talk, chat, get to know each other a little better, and more specifically, talk about what might be coming the best chapter of your life, with encouragement, with support, with ideas. Maybe I'm speaking to somebody out there in Radioland. If I am, all you got to do is go to your texting app on your smartphone, key in the number 84503. Text mentor to that number and my team will be in touch. I've spoken with men and women who've built amazing businesses. They fought battles, raised families, only to find themselves at age 65 staring at a wall at 10 a.m. wondering, do I still matter? Many people feel like they're the only ones experiencing this. Maybe that's you. You're not. You're not alone. Definitely not. Okay? Beneath all that fear, the fear that the best years that you have lived are behind you, the fear that you'll be forgotten, the fear that maybe, just maybe, in this new world that we're living in, you don't have much left to offer. Now, if you're feeling that, I want you to know you're definitely not, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're human. And everybody, and I mean everybody, if you live enough life, you go through a season like this. Everybody does. Because for me, I've been blessed to have built businesses, raised a family, made an impact. But I've also had those questions. So here is where we want to reframe. Okay? We want to reframe the worry, reframe the fear, and positively marshal it to move you forward. Here's where it gets exciting. What if I told you that the best chapter of your life isn't in the past, but it's right in front of you? Let's talk about real examples, okay? Colonel Sanders. You know that guy, crispy fried chicken, right? He founded KFC in his 60s. Peter Roget published his first thesaurus at 73. Grandparents, you step into mentoring roles all the time. Do you not find more joy and purpose in those years raising and pouring into your grandchildren than ever before? Maybe some of you out there in Radioland get more satisfaction out of that than you ever got in the job world. And maybe, just maybe, in this new world with young people more uncertain about their futures than ever before. Put yourself in their shoes. Imagine a young person that just is now in his third year or her third year of college, looking out into the jobscape of American business right now, having all of this anxiety that the debt and the study and the exams and the tests and all that stuff, what is it all going to be for if artificial intelligence takes my job? There's young people out there worrying about how they're going to make a difference in this world too. You could be a mentor. You could pour into them. You could help them see a bigger perspective, because a lot of them need wisdom. A lot of them need encouragement. And see, when you become the teacher and the encourager to others, when you become the teacher and the person that raises others up, when you become the teacher telling them, listen, this is how I did that. This is what I went through. I felt those same things. And look at me, I'm 40 years past that. This is just but a moment. This is just but a season. Imagine how much impact that might have on someone else wrestling with some of those things. See, right now at these later ages, if you're 55, 60 plus, heading into 70s and 80s, again, you've got time. You've got knowledge and wisdom based on your life experiences, both in business and raising families, that can really, really impact others. See, your past doesn't disqualify you. It actually equips you. Everything you've learned, everything that you've endured, it's fuel for the next chapter. Let me give you a perfect example. What I'm doing right now, the fact that you're hearing Graybeard right now on your radio, I'm a perfect example. Now, I'm not in my 60s. I'm not in my 70s. I'm not imminently facing retirement, but I've had those questions myself too. Right now, as you hear my voice, this is my second act. See, because I spent 22 years in finance. I was 22 years a fiduciary financial advisor, helping people care for their life savings, helping people care for their retirement, helping people manage that. And the weight of that, the weight of caring for hundreds and hundreds of people's life savings, that weight, it doesn't escape you. It doesn't go away. It doesn't go away on the weekends. It doesn't go away in the evenings. And it definitely doesn't go away on vacation, because that's the precise time that the stock market will pick to ruin a financial advisor's day. When I go on vacation, I could almost predict it with 100% clarity. That would be the day the markets would freak out, and I would have to think, how many people do I have to call? How many people do I have to handhold? There's going to be people upset. There's going to be people worried. There's going to be people anxious, and it would ruin any chance I had for enjoying myself. So I got out of that business. Then I decided, with my wife's help, I'm married to my high school sweetheart. We've been married for 31 years, been together for 36 years. We've got 4 incredible boys that rage. I can't even get the words out of my mouth today. That their ages range from 29 down to 19. Hey, 4 boys. And so my wife and I decided that we were going to be the California version of Chip and Joanna Gaines. We were going to go out and flip houses. Now, the good news is I didn't not do that. I did it. I did 12 houses. We flipped 12 incredible houses, high-end houses in the Sacramento area. And I learned a lot through that process. But the biggest lesson I learned is I didn't want to do it anymore. That business is not for the faint of heart. Lots of money, lots of time, and lots of risk. So I didn't enjoy that. Heading into 2020, I decided I was going to try my hand at coaching and mentoring, and I coached dozens of people. And I loved that particular business, but it wasn't a business that I could build with my children. It wasn't something that I could give them a foothold in business with. And so at that particular time, I presented an opportunity to get into the energy sector. I got into solar in California. I own a solar energy company. And I thought, here's my chance to build a legacy for my boys. I can show them how to start a business, build a business, ramp it up. I'm pretty dang good at marketing. Well, let's just say I tend to think outside the box. And so I ramped up that business. And then I realized the kids now got it. I don't want to be in that. I've been in sales for 35 years. I don't want to continue to stay in sales any longer. I want to be somebody that has an impact. I want to help people. I want to encourage them. I want to use common sense because, see, I found that common sense isn't as common as it used to be. I want to use common sense, logic, reason, empathy to make an impact, to make a difference. And see, this show right now, the Graybeard show, what you're hearing right now, me talking to you about creating your second act. See, I'm living that now myself. This is an opportunity for me to share that with you. I'm sharing my full breadth of life experiences. See, because I got into radio way back in my financial services days. That's how I gained new clients in financial services. I used radio. And then I used radio to grow my energy company business. And now I'm using radio to try to impact you, to reach you, to tell you, to encourage you that there are better days ahead. What if? Just think about this just for a second. I just want you to ponder this one very simple question. You may have lived 60, 65, 70 years already. But what if the most important 10 years of your life are still ahead of you? What if the best part of your story, the intergenerational story, the legacy story, the impact story, what if the best part of your story hasn't even been written yet? Wouldn't that reframe how you feel right now? Wouldn't that encourage you to, shake off the fear, shake off the insecurity, shake off the worry, and almost just get to work, right? That's who I want to talk with. If that's you, if you think that the best 10 years of your life could possibly be ahead of you, if you think the past doesn't disqualify you, it equips you. Everything you've learned, everything you've endured, all the bad days that you've survived. You survived 100% of your worst days up to this point. You've survived 100% of them. But what if the biggest impact that you're going to make ever in your life, the reason you were made, the reason that you were born at this time, in this country, in this age, going through this season, what if it's all led you to this next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? If you'd like to talk about that with me, I'd love to talk about that with you. I'd love to talk with you about your strengths, about your weaknesses, help you map out an idea of what could be impactful, what the next stage might look like, help you embrace the idea that these next 10 years could be your most impactful years. Because I feel like right now, as I'm talking, as you hear my voice out there in Radioland, I feel like these next 10 years with me at the mic, trying to help people like you out in Radioland, these could be the best 10 years of my life. We won't know unless you're proactive. We won't know unless I keep doing this. And I won't know if I'm making a difference unless you reach out. So here's what you got to do. Take out your smartphone. Go to your texting app. Enter in the number 84503. 84503. And then just text one word, mentor. Text mentor to 84503. My team will reach out. We'll see if we can connect. We'll do a 30-minute spark call. See if it sparks. Sparks for you, sparks for me. See if there's reason for us to continue to dialogue. We will see if we can't help you reframe these next 5, 10, 15 years. All you got to do is text mentor to 84503. Again, mentor to 84503 if you'd like to discuss how to create massive impact for yourself in these next 10 years. Let's talk a little bit about fear. Overcoming the fear of aging. Here's the enemy of your second act. Fear. False evidence appearing real. Fear. Whatever acronym you want to use for it. Fear of irrelevance. Fear of aging. Fear of not having control. Fear thrives in two places. In the unknown and in isolation. So how do you fight it? First, you name it. You got to say it out loud. You got to get real with yourself. Are you afraid of being forgotten? Are you afraid of being a burden to your family or others? Are you afraid of losing your health? See, when you call it out, because once you name it, it loses some of its power. That's the important thing to recognize. Now, for me, let me just say, fear has been my arch enemy most of my life. I have been very conscious to not let it envelop me. So when I say arch nemesis, that maybe gives you the wrong impression. It's not something that I struggle with often. I don't even want it to stick to me. It's not something that I embrace. It's not something that I feel is strength. Now, right or wrong, I've always looked at me being afraid as weakness. I've looked at it as a thing to improve that I want to shy away from because I don't want it to stick to me. Now, a healthy dose of fear is appropriate, okay? If all of a sudden I hear a strange noise out camping in the woods, I'm going to have a little fear, and it's probably appropriate. I don't want to get eaten, okay? There are situations where fear is highly appropriate, but in everyday life, in everyday living life, right? Did you know that in the Bible it says over 365 times, do not fear? I've lived that. I wanted to internalize that. If that's the one major thing, if that's the one instruction, if that's biblically what I need to do, then I need to do that. I want to not fear, but I understand how pervasive it is. You know? I do. So here's how you overcome it. You got to take a courageous step forward. I don't care if it's 3 inches or 3 feet or 30 miles. That step forward, whatever that step is, moving forward. Take that courageous step forward. Maybe it's volunteering. Maybe it's calling an old friend that you know needs some encouragement right now. Maybe it's signing up for a class to learn something new. Remember that story I told you where, oh my gosh, I've had that thought in my head. Oh, there's one more thing that I'm losing. One more thing I'll never do in my life. One more thing that I'll never get back. I can't go on roller coasters anymore. I can't spin anymore. I can't take that F-16 ride anymore. And I started to think, oh God, what am I losing? What am I losing? What am I losing? You know the best way to overcome that mindset is to do something new. Challenge yourself. Do something fresh. Sign up for a class. Mentor somebody younger. Volunteer. See, small steps create momentum. They create progress. They encourage you. These small wins create medium-sized wins, create big wins, create life change. Lastly, third step here, you got to stop measuring by success. And you got to start measuring by impact. Because at this stage of your life, Your value isn't the paycheck you earn, it's the lives that you can touch. See, that's another reason why I'm doing this. It's not about the money. Now, money makes the world go round. Money's important. Money is a measurement of lots of different things. It could be a measurement of peace for some. It can be a measurement of security. It could be a measurement of success or whatever. For me, the most valuable thing I have in my life is not money. It's time. It's the only thing I'm not guaranteed more of. It's the only thing I don't know how much I have. And it's the one thing I hate to waste. Time. But see, when you're older, when you're about to retire or when you already retired, you've got an abundance of time because you don't have the job, the 9 to 5 that you have to do. So now you got time freedom, you got knowledge and wisdom freedom, and you got impact possibilities. Your best 10 years of life may lie ahead of you, not behind you. Many of you at that age think those days are gone, that the best has passed you by. Don't think that. That's the enemy. That's the enemy of impact, fear. That's the enemy of progress, fear. Those negative stories that get played around in your mind. That won't matter. What if I can't do it? What if nobody listens? What if nobody sees me? What if it's not valuable? Those are extremely discouraging. You gotta shun that. You gotta get that out of your head. That's definitely not the place you want to go. That's not a place of impact. So when you are afraid, when you're fear, whatever the story is, you got to name it. What am I actually afraid of? And whatever it is, once you know what it is, then you and I, or someone else, work with some other mentor if you want. But you and I, we could draft a plan around it. How do we address that? How do we encourage? See, it's about encouraging. It's about supporting. It's about uplifting. It's about having positive action steps, moving you toward impact and life change. See, I think we got it all wrong here in the United States. I think the whole framing of what your life's supposed to look like, the whole work, career, retirement frame is severely broken, especially as we now enter the incredibly awesome age of artificial intelligence and what it's going to be able to do for people. I think human impact, relational impact is going to be more desirous than it's ever been. I have a working theory, by the way. Let me see out there in Radioland kind of think this way with me. I think there's a lot of people that are really excited about artificial intelligence right now, and I think there's lots of reasons to be so. But I think it's going to be one of those technologies that so quickly gets intertwined and ingrained in our lives that at some point, people are going to be resistant to it. They're not going to like it. They're not going to like the lack of authenticity. They're not going to like that it's not real, that it's not a real person. I liken it to, for example, the phone trees that companies like AT&T and many others have. You know what I'm talking about out there in Radioland. You know what I'm saying. The most frustrating thing that you've ever dealt with in your life. And in your 65 plus years, the most frustrating thing that you could ever deal with in your life is these phone trees that you can't get out of where you just want to talk to a human. I just want to talk to somebody real. I just want to talk to somebody. I don't want to key this in. I don't want to hear these prompts. I don't want to hear this nonsense. I just want to talk to somebody that's real, I think. At some point, people may feel that same way about artificial intelligence. And people like you out there in Radioland, people with time, with wisdom, with perspective, with lots of life experiences, people may want, may need, may desire, may covet you and what you can share because you're real. You have lived life. And there's a lot of people out there that need you, that want to hear your perspective. You just got to find the medium to deliver it. You got to find the way to explain it, to allow people to benefit from your life experiences. For me, I'm obviously using radio. Now, a lot of people don't think radio is going to survive artificial intelligence. They think it may go down as the next dinosaur, the next blockbuster video out there. Well, Now, if I spent all my time worried about that, if I spent all of my time worried, is radio still significant? Is it still an opportunity to impact people? Is it still an opportunity to reach people? Oh, I don't think it works anymore. I got to do podcasting, which I've done and we're doing. But if I let that fear creep in, you wouldn't be hearing me now. And somebody out there in Radio Land is being impacted by these words, being encouraged that your best 10 years may lie ahead of you. If I'm speaking to you, if that's you, maybe we should talk about what that looks like. Maybe we should work on how to make that a possibility, a reality. Text mentor, that one word, mentor, mentor, mentor to 84503. My team will be in touch. We'll do a 30-minute spark call, see if it sparks for you, see if it sparks for me, see if there's a reason for us to continue to talk. I'm sure there is. Impact matters. Life change matters. So text mentor to 84503 because here's where mentors fit in. Here's the secret I wish more people knew. You don't have to navigate this next chapter of your life, what could be the greatest chapter of your life, alone. That's where mentors come in. See, here's where a mentor could help, okay? Especially in this particular circumstance, where you're questioning, is the best behind me? Am I still relevant? Am I still significant? I'm in my 60s. I'm in my 70s. Who's going to listen to me? Here's where mentors come in. We help you reframe limiting beliefs, such as, I'm too old. Well, let's reframe that. You're not too old. You're finally ready. You've got the time, the knowledge, the resource, and the heart. You're finally ready. Mentors see blind spots and help you to connect the dots. I was talking with my son, one of my sons, and we were talking about challenges he was experiencing, relationship challenges, and then work challenges and stuff. And one of the things that I asked him was, what do you perceive as your weaknesses and what do you perceive as your strengths? He shared with me what he thought. And then I said to him, do you think you have any blind spots in your life? He's all, well, what do you mean? I said, do you think that there's anything in your decision-making process, how you evaluate relationships, jobs, etc., that could be a blind spot? In other words, something that you don't see, something that you're not aware of, but it's impacting these decisions. It's impacting whether it's an attitude, whether it's a mindset, whether it's its belief about the future, but it's something. Do you think you have blind spots? And if so, what are they? It was my attempt at encouraging him to evaluate that for himself, to seek that out. Now, as a mentor, I can tell you that 35 years plus in entrepreneurial business, having to deal with vendors and clients and customers in different industries, and I've changed jobs. I was a financial advisor, flipped houses, became a real estate agent, 2 flip houses. I wanted to make money when I bought a house and save money when I sold a house. Coach, business coach, solar energy company owner. Now radio show host, trying to encourage others, mentor and uplift others. So I had lots of varied experiences. And if I did not attack what I felt were my weaknesses, my blind spots, and guess what? Here's my method of attacking my weaknesses or blind spots. You know what it is? It's a foolproof method. It's been with me for a lot of years. It's the best thing that I could ever use in all of my life. It's the best thing that I could ever use to detect and call out my blind spots. It's my wife. She does that for me. She sees things differently than me. She has different life lived experiences. She has a different perspective. She has different freedom of time. She'll see a situation completely different than I do. And sometimes her words, sometimes they're like an illumination. Sometimes her words are like an epiphany. Sometimes they flip a switch for me. And all of a sudden, what I didn't realize, what I didn't think, or what I did not have or should have contemplated just immediately all rushes in, just with a few words. Now, she's a mentor to me. Now, many of you out there in Radioland, you may have a spouse that's a mentor to you. But what's important is you get varied experiences. I would look at your situation differently than you might see it. Mentors see blind spots, and they help connect the dots. They offer also one of the most important things that mentors can do for you in this stage of life, creating your second act, the best chapter of your life. They offer you accountability. You need accountability if you're going to be impactful. You don't just drift into a great second act of your life. You need somebody to help you steer the ship. See, a man in his 60s may feel like he's standing in front of an empty canvas, right? Brush in hand, paralyzed, not knowing where to start, where to begin, where to go, how to move forward. A mentor walks up and says, "Let me show you how to start with the first stroke. Here we go." And mentoring isn't only about receiving. Many people that have been mentored and coached become mentors and coach themselves, finding deep fulfillment and pouring wisdom into younger generations. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't it be incredible if the best chapter of your life came toward the end of your life? Now, if I was a creator myself, if I was the good Lord, if I was God incarnate, wouldn't it be great to create all of the opportunity to be impactful as you could ever be in the later stages of your life? Because that's where you have lived, learned experience, you got wisdom, you got knowledge, you got the freedom of time, you've made your money. It's not about the money, it's about impact. That would be a beautiful, beautiful design. See, I think as time goes on and we age in this country, I think a lot of older folks have been not regarded the way that they should, not held up and sought for real advice like they should. And I think that needs to change. Because I don't know about you, but I love to benefit from others' wisdom. I love to avoid mistakes or pitfalls because someone else did it before me. They charted the path before me. I'm a very practical guy, common sense guy. You know, why do I need to recreate the wheel if someone else has already created the wheel? I'm about the most efficient way to move forward. That, to me, is wisdom. Because if I can get there faster, learning from somebody else's mistakes that I don't have to make, that put me on the sidelines, or that caused me to go over a speed bump, then I can get further faster. I can make a much greater impact faster. More people. So learning from your wisdom based on all of your life experiences, I think is an incredible opportunity for somebody else out there in the world. And maybe all they're needing, all they're looking for, all they want is your real lived life experience to shed some light onto how they can navigate this ever-changing world. Because even though it's not the same world, this is definitely not the same world that you and I grew up in. It's a completely different world. And if you're out there in Radioland, having ever in the last few years said, "Man, I can't believe these younger generations, and then commented on how wildly different or how inadequate or whatever it is that you wanted to say. But if you say anything about the younger generations, this is a different world. But life experience, dealing with people, dealing with discouragement, overcoming that, moving forward, planning, charting a new course, all of that is within your purview. Nothing about life has changed so much that people don't need wisdom about how to live life. Even though this world is very, very different from the one you and I grew up in. Now, if this is hitting home for you, if you're at a point where you'd like to take your success, your knowledge, your wisdom, your failures, your lessons learned, and impact others in some way, or do something that you've always wanted to do. Maybe you don't want to impact others, but you've had this dream, this calling, this urging all of your life. Like something unsettled inside, like you haven't been living your true, authentic self, that something needs to be birthed or born out of you, and you've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and there's this fear that, oh my gosh, if I leave this earth, if I die before having do this or even trying it, I'm going to have massive regret. If that's you, don't live in fear. Take action. I like to say to my kids that imperfect action is always better, so much better than perfect inaction. Some of you out there in Radio Land may be perfectionists, and maybe that's why you haven't started your thing. Maybe you've lived a life 60, 70, 80 years, and you just haven't started, that you hadn't been impactful yet because you hadn't found a way to do it. It wasn't perfect circumstance. It wasn't ideal. Well, you just got to throw that out the window. No such thing as perfect. Imperfect action, starting, moving forward, is the most important thing that you can do. If that has appealed to you, then let me help you. Graybeard the mentor, Graybeard the coach, Graybeard the encourager. That's what I feel like my second act is. My voice transmitted through the radio waves out there, impacting somebody right now listening in their home, driving in their car, that says, you know what? It's time. It's time for me to start. It's time for me to move. It's time for me. What if the greatest 10 years of my life lie ahead of me? What if the best years, the reason I was born, the impact I'm supposed to give, what if that is ahead of you and you just haven't connected? You just haven't started. You just haven't had somebody hold you accountable. You just haven't had somebody show you your blind spots. You haven't had somebody encourage you to overcome the fear. You haven't had somebody encourage you to think outside the box. Maybe that's me. Maybe I need to be that for you. If you reach out, all you got to do is take your smartphone. If you go to your texting app, key in this number, 84503. Almost like it's a phone number. It's not a phone number, but just key it in, 84503. All you got to do is text the word mentor, 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 to 84503 if you want to connect. First 30 minutes is on me. We call it a spark call. Does it spark anything? Does it spark something in you? Does our conversation spark something in you and me? Does it spark a new opportunity, a new chapter of your life? We'll find out. We'll find out enough in that 30 minutes to know if we should continue to speak. If that has appealed to you, then text mentor to 84503. Now, let me just say, I'll leave you with this thought. If you're listening right now and you felt this heaviness, this whisper that says you're done, hear me out on this. You're definitely not done. It's just time to turn the page. See, the second act, it's not ever going to be about decline. It's about design. It's about creating on purpose. Not just drifting through the years by default. You may have lived 65 years already, but your best, most impactful years may lie still ahead of you. What if the best part of your story has yet to be written? Here's some examples of some action that you can take. Sit down, quiet space. You got time alone, time to think. And then just start creating a list of what excites you. What are the things that spark excitement or joy for you? List as many of them as you can. Let's say you've gotten 5 or 10 things on this list. Things that spark joy, spark excitement, get your heart racing, make you feel alive, whatever those things are, okay? Now, on the other side of the page, here's what I want you to do. I want you to create a list of your unique talents, gifts, what differentiates you from others. I mean, you've lived enough life, you've had enough experience, people have told you, you're good at this, or you're good at that. Okay, and if you're not aware, ask your family, ask your kids, ask your wife, ask your spouse, ask your husband, ask your friends, ask your coworkers if you're still working. But ask them, what do you think, what are the strengths that I possess that maybe other people don't? Or what are my unique abilities? So now once you've got this list of 5 or 10 unique abilities, and you got this list of 5 or 10 things that really excite you, what you're going to look for is where these things intersect. Where does your unique gifting, talents, and abilities intersect with what truly excites you, gives you passion, gives you enthusiasm to tackle the day? And where they intersect, that's where we should start. We should start mapping or charting out a way to do that in such a way that it provides you excitement, joy, significance, reward, accomplishment, and it's tied to your unique gifting and abilities. So, for example, right now, when I do radio, when I'm at this mic, I don't recognize time. Everything kind of just speeds up for me. They say that you know you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, what you were purposed with doing on this planet. They say that you know it when you do it, and it seems like time just flies by. That's radio for me. Secondarily, they say that it's really a good hint, a good key that you're onto the right thing, is not only does time fly, but you feel more energized when you're done than you felt when you started. That's a really, really good indication that you are embodying your unique purpose for being here. For me, that's radio. I enjoy it. I have fun with it. I think I'm good at it. I like helping people. I like encouraging people. I like giving advice to people. I like it when the value of that advice is realized in real, true life experiences. I like it when somebody sends me a text message, "Thank you so much. What you've shared with me has impacted me immensely." I love that. Thank you for doing what you do. Now, some of you out in Radio Land, I'm not suggesting that radio is the way that you need to do that, but for some it is. But maybe it's mentoring, maybe it's coaching, maybe it's volunteering, maybe it's helping people solve problems, maybe it's whatever it is. What I don't think it is sitting in your home, turning on the news channel, whatever one it is, MSNBC, Fox, whatever, is talking about all the carnage, talking about all the stuff happening, all the chaos, political discourse. Meanwhile, you're just sitting there, passing time, waiting to die. I had that unfortunate conversation with my mom. I had to kind of shake her up a little bit because after she retired, I felt like she lost her significance. Like she was a hard charging, go to work, make stuff happen. She worked for this company called, initially it was called Big P. It was a porta potty business. And then another company was bought out, or a bigger company bought them out. And then she grew that porta potty delivering business in Wyoming. She grew it from like, I want to say $500,000 a year in revenue to almost $6 million a year in revenue just from her department. So she was just a go-getter. Everybody loved her. And then as soon as she retired, she didn't know what to do with herself. She'd lost something. I kept saying, Mom, you got to get out. You got to go maybe volunteer. You got to come alongside other people. Go do something that gives you some joy. Go. What are you doing? And so what she would do is she would sit home. Her husband would watch Fox News all day, and then she would look on, surf Facebook and watch the cars go by the community that she was in. She was watching others live. Watching others live on TV, watching others live on Facebook, and watching others live outside. And unfortunately, I think it's what cost her life. She died in November of 2023. And I think it was the loss of purpose. It was the loss of involvement, impact, being around other humans. I just don't think that she planned properly. I don't think she had a good plan for what to do with her life. And part of my outreach right now, part of the reason I'm speaking to you, part of the reason I'm encouraging you that these next 10 years of your life could be the most impactful years of your life is that I wish I had said more. I wish I had encouraged her more. I wish I had done more. I feel like this is an effort for me to reach out to you to pay amends to the fact that I didn't do that for my mom. And I don't want you to go down that same path. Just know you are valuable. You are needed. It's not too late. It's only too late if you think it's too late. But if you think that you've got more gas in the tank, if you think you've got more life to live, if you think that you might have more impact to make before it's all said and done, then I'd love to speak with you. I'd love to see how we can help. If you take out your smartphone right now, I'd love to connect with anybody that would like to explore how the next 10 years could be the best years of your life. All you can do is text MENTOR to 84503. Be ready for a call back. My team, specifically James, will reach out to you. If you text us, if you text MENTOR to 84503, he'll reach out, see if he can connect, see if he can grab you on the phone, set up a 30-minute spark call for us to talk. See if we spark. See if something sparks in you. See if we can come up with some ideas. All you got to do is text MENTOR to 84503. Take out your smartphone, go to your texting app, key in 84503 like it's my new telephone number. And then all you got to do is text MENTOR. MENTOR because you want... Wrong button there. MENTOR because you want to create a life of impact. My name's Graybeard. Love to talk with you. MENTOR to 84503. And rest assured, I'll be back here, same time, same place, next week. The Graybeard Show.
Learn,
Build.
grow.